seconds or so. All right, everybody. This is Jonny Vegas Namer here with Ministry of Lacrosse. And my guest today is Graham Bergsma of the Arena Lacrosse League. And Graham, why don't you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with the Arena Lacrosse League?
I'd be happy to. First of all, thank you for having me on, Johnny. I really appreciate it, getting the word out there about the Arena Lacrosse League. So myself, I'm a Canadian-born player, but my game has traveled around the world. I started growing up playing box lacrosse in Ontario, and that really led me up through the ranks. I played junior A there, and then I ended up getting a scholarship to play Division I. I did my undergraduate at Fairfield University in Connecticut, and then played a fifth year while I was getting my master's degree at Canisius College in Buffalo. After my collegiate career, I continued both with the box and field side. Whether it was playing Senior B and Senior A lacrosse here in Ontario, or as part of the Dutch national team, which I played with since 2006. I played in 3 World Championships and 2 European Championships, having finished as well as 8th in Manchester in 2010, and making the 2010 FIL President's All-World Team, and then finishing 2nd with a silver medal in the 2008 European Championships. My broad experience in lacrosse has brought me in touch with many people, one of them being Paul St. John, the president and owner of the Arena Lacrosse League. I got in contact with him. I was involved with him when I was with CLAX, the Canadian Lacrosse League, and then he asked me, what I was doing and whether or not I'd like to be a part of this, and it was right up my alley in terms of the Arena Lacrosse League and how it's going to grow the game. So,
yeah. And now, there's a little bit of an echo there. There's the Arena Lacrosse League. You guys are doing a great job getting the word out there, and for any lacrosse fans out there or players that haven't played box lacrosse yet, you guys definitely should give it a shot. And box lacrosse is great. I've played in Prague in the Alice Sobreski Memorial Tournament. I played for Turkey. Box lacrosse benefits the way you play in field lacrosse. And so Graham, why don't you talk a little bit about what players can expect when they play in the Arena Lacrosse League, or how they find out more information about it?
Yeah, no problem. Well, one of the things you talked about is how box has helped your field game. And so it's undeniable to see some of the impact that the box game has had on the field game, both at the NCAA level, at the World Championships level, with Canada having won 2 of the last 3 Worlds, and with the very successful runs of some of the teams in the last few years that have incorporated a lot of, whether it be Canadians or the Canadian indoor box style, such as Denver this year winning their championship. So what we're doing with the Arena Lacrosse League is trying to grow that indoor game in America. So when people come out to either our elite combines or to our youth camps, what they can expect is a full week of instructions on how to play the arena style of the game. It's not as hack and whack and completely physical as the standard Canadian box style, and it makes it easier for Americans or anyone who's been associated with the field side for most of their career to adapt to the box. We've taken out a lot of the off-ball hacking and whacking. We've made it more about speed and about skill, getting up and down the floor. So when people come out, they'll be able to get introduced to both the basic tenets and then the more complex tactics involved with the arena game, and then be able to, for the youth, they'll be playing a tournament Friday, Saturday, get several games in where they can test their new skills. And for the elite combine, there will be a showcase game that will allow players to be seen by owners, coaches, GMs, in order to be eligible for the draft that will be coming up this fall.
Oh, cool. And now, so the Arena Lacrosse League is new for a lot of people. Some people might not have heard of it yet. There's the Facebook page, there's Twitter. You guys can check out Arena Lacrosse League. .com. And everybody out there, just make sure you guys check it out. It's going to be a good thing. There's been other leagues in the past that have tried it, but I feel like the Arena Lacrosse League has a great foundation, and yeah, definitely give it a shot. Graham, talk a little bit about how you and Chris Panos and just all you guys that are working for the Arena Lacrosse League are going to help grow these players into great lacrosse players, box-wise.
Well, we're going to start with a lot of the basics. We're going to be teaching them, putting them inside the box is going to be the first thing. The tighter quarters, the smaller nets, the bigger goalies, the faster pace, all of that grows skills that you don't get the same in the field game. And then on top of that, they're going to be getting instruction from people such as Chris Panos, myself, elite level coaches that have experience in both the field and box game, growing not only their tactical knowledge, but their specific knowledge of certain skills that are necessary in the box. We're going to be introducing them to more complex picks, rolls that they've been seeing, that they may have been seeing in their field. We're also going to be helping them understand the most efficient ways to get up and down the floor to create a lot of transition.
Yeah. And now box lacrosse, it definitely requires different skill sets, and it's definitely a much different game than the field game. The goals are much smaller than hockey goals. The goalies have much more padding. You got the boards, you got the walls all around it. So basically, you can't just fire like a ton of rocket shots because it's going to bounce off of the wall. You're gonna have to run back. You're gonna miss opportunities if you actually play constantly like you play in field.
That is very true. The best analogy that I've seen towards the two is if you look at field game, it is more soccer mixed with basketball in terms of possession, and whereas the box game is more hockey mixed with basketball. I mean, it's in an indoor rink, it's 5-on-5. It's very similar, but like you said there, it's very different, and that's box versus field. But we're not fully doing box. We're teaching and we're incorporating what we call the Arena Lacrosse brand, which is more easily accessible to both sides. It's not as closed down offense, defense, physical as the original box game. It's more open to the skills that have made American field players so good. Their athleticism, their speed are going to be in the forefront and being showcased in this style of play. But as you said, you can't play the same way as you can in field. It's much less of a possession game. It's more of a game that spurs on creativity and speed, where you've got a 30-second shot clock. So you know what, you've got to do your best to create opportunities, and you get to take a lot more shots. You get to try a lot more things. It's not as shackled as the American field game.
Yeah, and we've got a viewer question from Brian Martin. He's asking, what does it take for someone to play in the A.L.L, and what is the youngest player that you guys are going to allow to play?
Well, we have a strict, you must be 18 years old in order to play. We will have junior A.L.L programs for those underneath of that, both boys and girls. So anyone who wants to get a head start on the A.L.L and possibly being a member of the Elite League in the future can come out and start playing in these camps, and then hopefully grow their game to the point where when they turn 18, they'll be eligible for the draft and get picked up with a team. But what does it take to play in the A.L.L? It takes really a commitment to the game and to growing it, and to being open to a new style. If you come in and you take your regular skills, athleticism, speed, a good shot, accuracy, and you add on the ability to be coached, to take in the instruction of guys such as Chris Panos, myself, the other instructors that we're going to have. If you're willing to sort of accept that this new style may add things to your game that you couldn't have beforehand, and you really make that commitment to learning and to taking in what everyone has to say for it, then you should be very successful. The A.L.L. is a league that's going to not hamper anyone's skills. It's going to take their skills and accentuate them and take their game to another level. So if you're willing to put in the work and to listen to the guys, anybody can be successful in the A.L.L.
Yeah, and now talking about the tour and stuff, you guys are going to be going to a lot of different locations.
We are.
Yeah, and so now how can somebody sign up for that? I know they go to the website. Why don't you give some info about that?
So we are doing a 12-city showcase tour up and down the East and West Coast this summer, where we will have both a elite combine, so a week-long combine finished with a showcase game for the elite level, and then we will be having instructional camps and tournaments for youth at several different age groups. If you want to get involved with that, you can go to our website, www.arenalacrosse.com. There is a link for registration right at the top of the page. Fill that out, whether or not you want to be in the youth combine or the youth camps or in the elite combine. You can also, if you have any questions about the elite side, you can email myself at Graham Bergsma, G. Bergsma at arenalacrosseleague.com, or you can email, if on the youth side, you can email Randy Frazier at rfrazier at arenalacrosseleague.com and get some of that information. If you want to sign up for the camps. If you have any other questions about it, feel free to contact us. Our contact info is all available on the Arena Lacrosse League website there. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any of us, and we'll be able to help you out and point you in the right direction.
Yeah, and now talk about some of the staff, some of your fellow staff members. We've already talked about a few, but go into a little more detail about some of the people that are working behind the scenes of the Arena Lacrosse League.
Oh, thank you. One of the great things that we have with the Arena Lacrosse League is we're blessed to have a fantastic staff from a lot of different areas of the game who are all fully dedicated to our mission into growing not only the league but the game of lacrosse as a whole. We touched on Randy Frazier. I believe we've done an interview with him. He's running the youth side of things. He is currently the under-19, the U.S. under-19 box team's head coach. He had a wonderful career at the highest levels of both field and box. We've got Chris Panos, who is currently a coach with the University of Tampa, having a very successful couple of years in Division II. He has a great history at the highest levels of box lacrosse and field lacrosse as well. Then on the management side, we've got Paul St. John, who is just a lacrosse visionary. He's really been the driving force behind a lot of this. He sees something, and he sees how it can be better, and he sees where the game's going. And he's really the guy that keeps us all pointed in the right direction and heading towards what we hope to be a great league and a great opportunity to grow the game in the United States. We've got Lance Wynn, longtime media member around many different sports. He's kind of heading up our broadcasting and media relations. We've got Blair Campbell, another legend in the Canadian lacrosse game that's helping out from a managerial perspective. We have great people at all levels, whether it's from Paul, our president and owner, down to our interns all across the United States. I couldn't be happier with the involvement that we've gotten from everywhere and how much they've been doing to help us out. Speaking of that, if anybody has any desire to help out at all, they can contact some of us, and if you're interested in an internship opportunity, etc.
Cool. And another question from Brian Martin. Yeah, so someone who is used to playing field lacrosse and comes into the box style play for the Arena Lacrosse League, will a player have to use field gear, or will they be supplied with box gear, like helmet or?
Part of the admission fee. Thank you, Brian. That's a great question. Part of the fee that you pay to get in includes getting custom helmets, gloves, jersey, shaft, and head. You can use your field elbow pads, etc. That's not an issue, but we will be providing all of that equipment along with the fee that you pay to get in. Part of that is because not only do we want you to have the right gear, we want this to give you the right kind of feel and the right kind of atmosphere. And when you get out there for your games and everybody's got matching equipment, etc., it's going to make the experience that much greater. But no, equipment shouldn't be a problem for anyone.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys have thought about it yet, but it might be cool to do like live streaming or live interviews and stuff at the different locations you guys are doing your the Arena Lacrosse League at.
We've definitely thought about that, and I do believe that the showcase games will be streamed for the public to see, so they can really get an idea of how great this is going to be. And we do plan on doing interviews and player profile with some of the guys that are around at the Combine and the youth players, because we know that their experience is really going to be the greatest testimonial that we can give to those out there who may be looking to join us later on in the tour. I think Reading is going to be the first tour spot in Reading, Pennsylvania is really going to be a great spot for us to get a lot of that information out to the people.
Yeah. And now also let's talk about a little bit of box lacrosse in America. It's definitely growing, but it's definitely growing at a slower rate than field lacrosse. What are your plans or thoughts on the growth of box lacrosse in America and your plans to boost that?
Well, I really think that lacrosse in America, as you said, it's the fastest growing sport in North America. And you're right, at this point, the field game is outpacing the box game. But if you can look at sort of the trends even within the field game lately, I do believe that we're on the edge of a paradigm shift in terms of importance. When you look at the highest levels, you look at Canada's rather decisive victory over the United States in the finals of this summer's or last summer's World Championships. You look at Denver's run to the NCAA championship this year with several box players on their team. I think that box lacrosse is going to be the next driving force in terms of where growth in the sport comes from. And so one of the things that we want to do is to not only provide an avenue for the best players to play in terms of the actual Arena Lacrosse League, but our junior A.L.L. program is going to bring this game, this new style of the game that's on the forefront of lacrosse, to the maximum number of people. We'd like to get it out in our 12 tour cities this year and then start to expand from there and hopefully put a lacrosse stick in 100,000 kids' hands over the next 10 years.
Yeah, and now box lacrosse, the different kind of pads are definitely something to talk about. You've got the hard shell ribbon spine pads. You've got the helmet, the hard shell bicep pads. It's definitely needed, and also it's cool to have the long jerseys as well. It's definitely a lot like hockey.
It is very similar to hockey. But so, yeah, you're right. Some of that padding's different. You know, the field players, for the most part, wear shoulder pads and then some elbow pads to keep from the slashing. Whereas one of the main checks in box lacrosse in the indoor game is a cross check. And so that's where the rib and spine pads come in. Our game, though, the arena game, is going to be much more based on speed and skill than it is on physicality. So, yes, the different pads will be necessary, but it's not going to be sort of the brutal game that some people may have stigmatized it with when they've seen some of the stuff from Canada. So I do believe that padding will not be an issue for anybody who takes the proper precautions.
Yeah. And now
Player safety is
Brian
one of our
Martin.
utmost ideals.
Yeah, and Brian Martin also asked another question. He was saying, how do you feel that the NLL, about the NLL box lacrosse? He said the Albany attack team came around when lacrosse was not as big. Do you feel like if they brought back the Albany attack, do you think they would succeed? How do you feel about the state of the NLL right now?
Well, one of the things that I want to refrain from doing is really speaking too much about the NLL. The NLL is not our league, and so I'd rather defer that question to them. If they want to answer that, then that's fine. I can't speak to things that I don't know. What I do know is that we at the Arena Lacrosse League are very excited about what's going on in Albany. For us, we've been there. We've talked with some of the event staff there and with the building people, and we think it's a fantastic venue that's going to be provide a wonderful experience for both the youth and the elite combine players that are there for that week of camp. And I think that especially with the hunger that they've had for lacrosse in the Albany area since the attack left, and then with the recent success of Albany with the Thompsons, and seeing how much the box game has really helped that program, I think it's going to be a great thing with a lot of hype surrounding it, and that we're going to get some great momentum out of that camp and create a wonderful box lacrosse community in the city of Albany.
Yeah. And now also me and Chris Panos, we've actually coached together. He was down here in Southern California for a little while, and he's a good guy. We were doing coaching Panos lacrosse a bit, and Chris is definitely a good guy to have on there, and I'm excited to see what you guys are going to do working together. So hold on one second, I accidentally got you muted. 1 second. There you go. What are your thoughts about that?
I'm, unbelievably excited to get the chance to work with somebody like Chris Panos. I have the utmost respect for what he's done in the game, both as a player and as a coach. And I think it's going to be a great opportunity for us to both work on our craft in order for us to create and provide the best possible product for everybody that's involved with the Arena Lacrosse League. I think that there's a tremendous amount that I can learn from him, and hopefully I can learn, or I can teach a thing or two to Chris. Part of what makes him such a great coach is that he's up to adapt and change, and he's always working on his craft. So I think that it's just going to be a refreshing opportunity to deal with someone who sees the benefits of the box game and understands how to incorporate them from both sides, both in the box and field game. I'm pretty excited to work with Chris.
Yeah. And now also, why don't you talk a little bit about the whole thing, how the Arena Lacrosse League started? How did the idea come about? And what is kind of like the whole mindset behind starting the Arena Lacrosse League? It's a very cool name. I like the A.L.L. I like the name Arena Lacrosse League. It reminds me of the Arena Football League. So talk to me a little bit about how that all came about.
Again, it's probably best to get it straight from the horse's mouth in terms of Paul St. John, but from my understanding, from my side of things, this has been an idea that Paul has had for a while about growing the game in the United States and providing a premier outlet for arena lacrosse, and trying to provide indoor lacrosse in the best possible manner in terms of with rules and venues, etc., that are going to create the most exciting brand of lacrosse for the fans. And so Paul had this idea, and he decided to run with it. And his first thing that he did was he tried to gather around as many of the great people that he could from the lacrosse community, both on the Canadian and the American side. He wanted people that shared in his vision and understood where he was going with things, and how great that this thing could be. And so once he got some people behind him, then he just used his tireless dedication to go out and hit the pavement and get in contact with however many people he could and get the message out there and start making inquiries and deals for whether it be arenas or player or whatever it was. He just went 100% into it. He got the idea, he surrounded himself with the best people, and then went full on into trying to make this thing a reality.
Yeah, and that's very well put. Paul St. John is definitely doing a great job, and same thing with Lance Wynn, and I'm going to be interviewing Randy Frazier pretty soon. But yeah, all you guys, Chris Panos, everybody, why don't you talk a little bit about your experience playing in Prague in Alice Hrebesky Memorial Box Lacrosse Tournament when you played with the Gales?
Yeah, the A.L.L. Hrebesky Memorial Tournament was one of the best experiences I've ever had in lacrosse, not just box lacrosse. For those of you who don't know, the A.L.L. Hrebesky Memorial Tournament is a box lacrosse tournament that's put on every year in Prague in the Czech Republic. Prague being sort of the nexus of European box lacrosse, but the game has now grown in Europe quite considerably. I was very recently over in Germany coaching on the field side, and I was approached by Doug Louie, who is running the Green Gales organization here in Ontario, and put a team into the tournament for many, many years. And when they approached me, I was honored to be a part of the Green Gales tradition. It's one that they center themselves around what they call FHPT, Family Honor Pride Tradition. And before I'd had a chance to get involved with them, it had always been something that I'd seen but never been able to experience. And it really was a wonderful time with just the classiest of organizations, and going over there to see how much the game has grown. I mean, I've seen it on the field side with my time with the Dutch national team, but watching the box lacrosse having grown and seeing these teams from all over the United States and Canada come and not only struggle, but in some cases lose to teams from Vienna, Austria, or from the Czech Republic. It's great to see that the playing field is leveling out, and that as the game grows geographically, so is the height, so is the level of play. So it's just a wonderful experience that brings lacrosse back to its roots in terms of playing because you love the game, and the camaraderie and the community that's involved there is second to none.
Yeah, and also box lacrosse has a little bit different rules and stuff, and I know that you guys are making some changes to certain rules and making it more enjoyable for the viewer. Why don't you talk about some of the modifications you guys are going to make?
That's a great question. Some of the modifications we're going to make, first I've touched on it a little bit in terms of off-ball contact. One of the things that we're going to do is we're going to legislate out sort of the hacking and whacking off ball. So when you're not on the ball, you're going to have more freedom to move and to go and to create offense in that regards. One of the biggest things that we're doing is a change in the way substitutions happen. So if you look at box lacrosse in some of the more mainstream areas, they play offense, defense. So you've got 5 guys that go out the offensive door, and then when they lose the ball, they come back. They all go in one door, and 5 guys come out the defensive door going the other way. And that speciality not only slows the game down a bit, it really cuts off some of those transition opportunities. So one of the things that we have is that you can only go into the bench from your defensive side gate. So, and you can only go out from your offensive side gate. So what that does is it gives the team an advantage when going from defense to offense, but it negates that advantage going from defense or offense to defense. So what that should do is create a lot more transition opportunities, breakaways, 3-on-2s, 4-on-3s, things that make the game of lacrosse a lot more exciting.
Yeah, no, that's very well put, and I definitely like that you guys are doing that, because definitely it does take away from the offense, the offense and the defense, if you're switching out through yes, a special group of guys playing defense, special group of guys playing offense. It just kind of takes away from the fast breaks and different things like that. So it's the player has to be able to go offense and defense, and that'll make the player a better player in general as well. So I definitely like that you guys are doing that. I like that you guys are also doing the rules about the checking off ball, because in some of the leagues I've played in, you get cross-checked without the ball, without even being near the ball, and it prevents you from being able to get open and create some opportunities. So I like that you're doing that. Why don't you do a little bit of give some advice to the young box lacrosse players, or people that are thinking about playing box lacrosse in the Arena Lacrosse League? Give us some tips for what they can do to prepare themselves to be ready for the Arena Lacrosse League.
Again, that's a great points and a great question. What can players do in order to be ready for the Arena Lacrosse League? I think working on your physical prowess in terms of speed, athleticism, quickness are all obviously going to help. Stick skills are going to be something that helps. If you can get out and work on your stick skills, it's another way that's going to improve your game and make you a better transition into the Arena Lacrosse League. But as I stated before, there's really no barriers to entry with the game that we've created here, the arena style. One of the beauty things about it is that no matter really what your play style is, where your strengths are, you can find a way to apply that trade in the Arena Lacrosse League. There will be an area where you can be successful. So one of the things that I would do is just really concentrate on what you do best. Try to accentuate where your skills lead you, and then to try and diminish some of your deficiencies. So really just getting out and practicing is really going to be the biggest thing that's going to help somebody be ready for these combines or for the youth camps. And if you can do some of that practicing in a box and understand sort of the geography and the topography and the way the ball bounces and some of the way that the nets work and your shooting angles, that's going to help you out even more.
Okay, and we've also got some questions coming in. So the first one is from Chris Fox, who's a very well-known box lacrosse player. I've known him for years, and he plays field too. He's saying that with field and box lacrosse and having multiple sets of rules for each version of lacrosse, some might say that that the Arena Lacrosse League's modifications might fragment the game even further. That's a question from Chris Fox. I wanted to give him that opportunity to ask that. So that's not from me. That's from Chris Fox. What are your thoughts on that? Oops. Hold on. You're muted. 1 second. Hang on 1 second. 1 second.
Oh, I got it. So Chris, that's a great point, and you say that it may fragment the game a little bit further. To that, I say that fragmentation is not the word that I would use, but evolution. You want to talk about different rules. Look at the NCAA, which we believe to be probably the highest level of the field game, which has gone through many different rule changes over the past few years, most of them trying to speed up the game and create two-way players. So if you look at the trend of where the field game and now us with the box game is going, it's going into those two-way players, into the speed and the skill and the up and down game type. So when you say fragmentation, I'd like to say that yes, it's different, but that our rule changes are creating a better product, not only in terms of entertainment for the fans, but in terms of player safety for those involved, while not sacrificing the excitement and the experience from playing the game that we're creating as well. So fragmentation is one way to look at it. I would look at it as the evolution of lacrosse as a whole.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that, with what you're saying, Graham. And so I am definitely on board with what you guys are doing. And I think that these types of shows that we're doing right here can definitely be very beneficial to the viewer and the people, just getting them interested in the product of the Arena Lacrosse League. Thank you for everybody that's viewing right now. We've got a Stringer Shack tuning in. Chris Fox is asking questions, so thank you for that. But yeah, we're gonna keep doing this. I plan on having Randy Frazier on. I plan on having Chris Panos on the show, and it's just, this show is a great opportunity to get people more knowledgeable about the Arena Lacrosse League. So, but yeah, right now it's you got the mic right now, so go for it. Talk a little bit about just finishing up how people. If they have questions, where can they email? Give your email again, and just get how they can get more info about it.
Well, thank you. Yeah. So, and I know we're really excited to continue some of this exposure through you, Jonny. And we really appreciate you having us all on here to get our message out. So, one of the things here I put up on the screen here, my email address, if anybody wants to get in contact with me to speak a little bit more about the league or about the combines that are coming up. But yeah, we're just really excited to get started with this tour this summer, and to get out there and to really start reaching out on a personal level with both the youth and the elite level combines. We really believe that if we can get people involved and they can get in and see our product and how the game is growing and what we're going to be able to do for lacrosse as a whole in the United States, that it's really going to snowball, and that people are going to be really excited when the league officially starts up next summer.
Yeah, and I definitely want to thank you for being on the show, and I definitely plan on really helping out with the Arena Lacrosse League in any way I can. Definitely have more of you guys and more of your coworkers on the show. But yeah, thanks for being on the show, Graham.
Thank you. So if anybody has anything, make sure to check out www.arenalacrosse.com. If they need to email me, my email is up there. You can follow us on Twitter at Arena Lacrosse. We would appreciate all of your support, getting the word out there, and we hope to see a whole bunch of you this summer on our tour stops. Jonny, once again, thank you so much for all that you're doing for us and for the game of lacrosse.
Yeah, and actually, real quick, we've got a few more questions coming in. So just before we end, Brian Martin, who is he's a writer for my company, Ministry of Lacrosse. He was wondering, is there any way he can get involved in the A.L.L. Combine in Albany, like either doing some reporting for it? It's close to his hometown, and he would love to do some work. And then Stringer Shack says that they love the idea of the league. And what are you guys going to do differently than the other semi-pro box leagues that have tried their shot at it?
Well, first I'll answer Brian's question. Sorry, which one was working for you? That's
Brian Martin.
Yeah, Brian Martin. I'll answer his question. To that, yes, we would love to have him involved. It just depends on what he's looking to do. If he wants to do some reporting, etc., I would suggest that he reaches out to Lance Wynn, who is heading up our media and broadcast. But if he wants to email myself or Paul St. John or Lance Wynn, whose all of their contacts are available on our website, we can talk with him about how he can help us out and how he can get involved. We're really open to people who want to help out what we're doing. And to the second question there, can you is there any way you could repeat that second question?
Yeah. So the second question is from Stringer's Shack. He says that he loves the idea of the league, and he's wondering what you guys are going to do differently than the other semi-pro box leagues that have tried their hand at running a box lacrosse league.
And that's a wonderful question, and that the answer to that is many-fold. As we talked about before, sort of on this interview, the rule changes that we're putting in are going to create a different style of game than most of those semi-pro box leagues. The other couple of the other differences that we're going to do is that our scale is a little bit bigger. We're bringing sort of the premier experience with our league. We're going to be playing out of anywhere from 8 to 15,000 seat arenas. We're going to be providing the experience of the elite level to the players that are involved with us. We're looking at things on I would say a grander scale than some of the smaller leagues in the past have. We're hoping that with the current trend and with the effort that we're putting in, that we're going to really reach a lot of people, and that we can capitalize on the love of lacrosse and the love of indoor lacrosse that's growing exponentially in the United States, and that we can provide a product that is lacrosse at the highest level in terms of viewability and entertainment for the fans, and we're going to try and provide all of this at a very reasonable price. So I hope that answers his question. If there's anything else that he needs, feel free to ask away, and I can amend my answer.
Yeah, no, that was a great answer. And so right now, I just want to say thank you once again for being on the show. And we'll definitely do more of this. You really did a great job of explaining everything. And thank you for being on the show.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, and everybody out there, make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Ministry of Lacrosse. And we're going to be doing a lot more live shows. Thank you for everybody in the chat that was chiming in with questions and comments. And make sure you guys check out the Arena Lacrosse League. We'll put links in the info of this episode. And I'm Jonny Vegas, reminding all of you to grow your game. And remember, to grow, you got to play. Happy lacrossing, everybody. Until next time.